We're talking about Shaneika Aguilar, who's on this episode of Cutting It Close with Cliff.
And Kelsie. No, seriously, it was a really fun episode. I feel so fulfilled after it. It was one of my first times really getting to know Shaneika. I was telling Cliff, usually when we get together, it's on a project-by-project basis, so we're only talking about work or school. And we have common interests. She loves conspiracies.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So we get into spiritual talks and conspiracy talks, of course, about her background, her love of filmmaking.
Yes.
Gosh, she's so wonderfully diverse in what she does and how she thinks. And she's so open-minded to any kind of possibilities, too. While still being beautiful, it's ridiculous. It's not fair. She's the best. Thank you, Shaneika, for being on.
Yes, we had a lot of fun. Is there anything we want to shout out in the intro here?
Thank you, MVMP, for providing our location.
As always. It's wonderful. It's been a while. Because,
Yeah, we took a couple weeks off.
And yeah, we will need to be taking at least 1 month off this summer.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll pack them in up until then. Who do we have next week?
We have Joe on next week.
That's right.
Yeah. So Joe just designed my movie poster for Hella Calais, which was like 2 years in the making of a movie poster. But finally, I reached out to him and he was able to turn it over in like a couple days.
Wow.
I'm like so happy with it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Joe. But besides being like a great graphic designer, he is a comedian at heart. When I first met him, he was auditioning for a role in Hella Calais, but he's so great at improvisation and like local comedy. He's a real like enthusiastic, pigeon-speaking, brada man. I love Joe. I'm so excited for next week. That's going to be really fun.
Very cool. In the meantime, enjoy this week's episode with Shaneika Aguilar. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
We have something with last names.
Aguilar. I know. I was watching the Alex Bocchieri one, and I'm like, oh, I'm so cringy. I know how to say it. Why can't I say it? We're learning.
Yeah,
Every week we're learning, and to be honest, this is my favorite episode so far. Yeah. Sorry, Nella. We're gonna have to have you on again.
You gotta step it up, Anella.
You gotta talk about conspiracies. Get me talking about pyramids.
All right.
Enjoy this episode.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
DP problems. Cool.
Oh yeah, I just got the Instagram. Storyline Studios started a live video.
Nice.
Yes.
Ooh, that's awesome.
We never had a guest stream on their own thing before, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. Yeah.
Extra marketing.
Yeah, you know what it is.
So how you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
I've been extremely busy.
Yeah.
Post-grad.
Do tell. You just graduated.
Last year.
Yeah, last spring.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
What's life been like since graduation?
A whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you want me to tell you a little bit about what happened after post-grad?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's dig in.
post-grad, Marlene actually referred Raina and I to this really cool summer opportunity. It was like this summer documentary with the School of Ocean, Earth, Science, and Technology.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that.
The REU program.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that for the whole summer, and it was like this heavily integrated program where we were immersed with the students.
Oh, wow.
And
on
it was
island. That
on
wasn't
island.
abroad. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was
no
like
idea.
it was like a first-hand experience at what it's like to be a documentary filmmaker, like on location, because we actually were provided dorms.
Damn.
So we were like living with them.
Wow.
And these were
That's so
like
cool.
about 10 to 13 students from all across the US. And so they came here to do like their thesis science projects. And then we were tasked with documenting that whole experience.
Where were you dorming? Where were you guys stationed?
We were at Freer Hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on campus. Yeah.
Yeah, right on campus, close to home.
Right.
It wasn't too jarring of an experience, but it was really fun because it was kind of like an on-call kind of a thing. Like we had a general schedule, but majority of it was open to what we felt was important to film. So a lot of it was like we would get like text messages at like 3 a.m. and they'd be like, "Oh, we're at the lab. This just happened. Do you want to catch it?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like just random things. Like I'll be like eating lunch and then one of them will come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm doing a lab experiment at this time. I won't be able to do it again. So if you want to see like what it's gonna look like,
Yeah.
come over and like film it." And I'm like, "Let's do it."
Gotta do it. You can't
Yeah,
miss
you
it.
can't miss it. Like, and with science experiments, like sometimes you can't redo it. So it was a pretty interesting experience. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And did you go out to sea also?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yes, we did. We were out at sea for like almost a week.
Wow.
I think it was
What?
3 to 4 days.
Uh-huh.
I forget.
On a
But
research vessel?
On a research vessel.
Wow.
It was the Kila Moana.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like majority of us got seasick.
Oh, jeez.
That's allowed.
Like
Yeah.
seasick to the point where we were vomiting. Like almost every day.
Oh, man.
With
Yeah.
the camera in your hand.
With the and it was hard for me and Reina because our screens are small, so we don't have monitors on our camera, like the larger monitors. So being on a boat that's rocking sideways,
And you're like...
and you're like
focusing.
this, like focusing on this really small screen.
I'm getting queasy just thinking about
Yeah,
it.
no, it's like, yeah.
Oh, man.
But it was
Wild.
crazy because I honestly had no idea what they were doing out at sea.
Yeah.
I was just told that we were gonna go around Oahu, and they were gonna conduct some research on the ocean. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So we were like filming the students, just kind of doing little experiments in the labs inside of the vessel. But then on the last day, they did this thing called dredging, where they dropped this huge metal like net like down to the sea floor.
Yeah.
And they were scraping volcanic rocks off of the bottom of the ocean. And then they like reeled it back in, and then they started doing more research on like the rocks.
What organisms are down there?
Yeah, and like the age of the rocks and like if there's an active volcano down there. And so like it was crazy because being in the water at night, it is not nice. The seas are rough.
Whoa.
Seas are rough, yeah.
And there's nothing around you for miles.
I
You guys are,
know.
like, way the hell out there.
Yeah,
right?
and you would,
Yeah.
I would step out on the dock and it would be pitch black,
Wow.
except for the lights on the dock. And I'm just like, oh my God, we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm gonna have an anxiety attack.
Titanic
I know, I'm
action
just
going
like, oh my God, something bad could really happen right now. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it was really fun though.
I bet the stars were beautiful though.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah?
God,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
So beautiful. And the moon,
Oh,
there was like this one moment where it was like setting around on the horizon and I was like, oh, if only I had like a red or an Ari right now to film this moment. Yeah. It was beautiful, yeah. At night it was, when the seas were calm, it was so nice just to go out on the dock, sit and literally just lay there and just watch the sky.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's such a dream.
Yeah.
So cool.
But you were there to work.
I was there to work, but I mostly did that when I was feeling really seasick and I just needed to stare at something that was like steady and stable. I'm like,
Where's the moon?
yeah, yeah,
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah.
It's nuts. So a whole month out at sea.
No.
Yeah.
It was
Oh.
just like less than a week.
Oh, less than a week.
Yeah,
okay,
we were
okay.
out at
But
sea.
still, that's a good taste.
Yeah,
Dang. Oh my gosh. Goals.
it was
Did you
scary.
guys see dolphins?
No, oh my God, we didn't see any
Wild
animals. No,
Oh, weird.
no. But we saw flying fishes.
Oh, neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was about it.
Yeah.
But that was cool because I was like, oh, I've never seen that before. Like
Yeah.
fishes that are flying. They've evolved. But yeah, so we were out at sea and then we went to the Big Island. I honestly forget how long we were there for again. I think it was almost a week.
Okay.
But we were on the Big Island and then, we were exploring all of the volcanic sites. So we went to like Green Sand Beach.
Oh.
We went to like crazy places, but I just remember all we did was hike, hike and hike. Yeah. With my camera, with all of our gear, so it was like 10 times heavier. But it was a cool experience because I don't willingly go hiking.
Yeah.
So it was cool to just be out with people who are knowledgeable about the land, and then just like filming everyone's experience and their reactions to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is really nice.
yeah, it was fun. But yeah, so that was for a whole summer.
Okay.
And I just finished the rough cut for that video, for that documentary.
Wow.
It's 15 minutes, but like sorting through 2 months worth of like interviews and like footage and like pictures that everyone sent,
That's rough.
it was painful. Painful process because I don't necessarily have the software to be able to handle that bandwidth. So my computer kept crashing and Premiere kept crashing.
Sure.
And like my computer kept saying, you know how like the media cache files like take up space?
Yeah.
My computer kept saying maxed out, out of storage.
Wowzer.
And I was just like, oh my God, I can't get anything done if it keeps saying like
Yeah.
maxed out.
Yeah.
So
What'd you do?
I just had to keep like, I had to transfer all the files out to like separate hard drives. And then I just had to like clear out my entire computer. Yeah, just for that project. And every time it maxed out, I just had to go in and then delete all the cache files and do it over and do it over. It was painful, but had to do it. I didn't have anything else. Yeah.
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 Were you shooting HD or 4K?
I believe we were shooting 4K.
Okay.
So that was the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge files. Yeah.
Huge files. Yeah.
It must have been really rewarding though to see like a rough cut come together and to reminisce on all those
I
times.
know.
Yeah.
I like look back on it and I'm like, oh, I remember exactly how I was feeling when I was filming this. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were able to put together like a storyline, like an arc of any kind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interviews definitely helped
Yeah.
build that. Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part.
It was a hard, because getting people to, it was hard because there were so many students.
Yeah.
And they wanted coverage of all the students. So getting an interview of all 10 and then finding a way to piece that into a documentary, but also being able to maintain the story
Yeah.
with that many people involved, it was difficult because I was like, okay, I don't want some people to overshine others, but it has to happen.
Yeah.
And then there are some where sometimes some students don't open up as much, so I can't really use their interview sound bites. So it was a lot of like okay, manipulating like all of the different interviews and like all the different sound bites that I had, and just choosing the ones that actually like built the story to help let it flow throughout the
I
whole
think
piece.
that's the right choice.
Yeah.
Over like making sure that everyone has the same amount of screen time
I
for the whole
know.
thing.
As long as everyone has screen time, then we're okay. Yeah.
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 Yeah, but sometimes leads just naturally emerge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There are those like students that are naturally like a little bit more open about like their project and their
Yeah.
experiences. So those sound bites really help move the piece along.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's really cool. It's like once in a lifetime opportunity.
I know.
Super, super
I know.
cool.
But yeah, so that's what I did for a whole summer with
Wow.
Reina. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
And then now I'm working full time at Nella Media Group,
Congratulations.
NMG Network.
So amazing. They do so much. So many different publications.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know all their different networks that they're like trying to bring out too. So do you focus mostly on the documentary side?
I mostly do documentary filmmaking and fashion films. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Like, are you doing these are you a part of a team or?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 3 of us in the team.
Okay.
It's me, Kyle, and Gerard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dream team.
Yeah.
Total
Yeah,
dream
so
team.
we're shooting nonstop, and we're editing nonstop.
Okay.
And we just hired Reina as an intern.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's
that's
like
awesome.
it's like the whole team comes full circle. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so she's helping us editing as well, just helping us like with all of the projects that we have.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just have we have a lot of things scheduled. But majority of it is like things that I've always wanted to do.
Cool.
Because after that summer, I realized like, okay, I really want to get into documentary filmmaking because it's so real and raw. I like that.
Yeah.
And I love like that fleeting like feeling of just like going out and shooting and not knowing what to expect. Like that whole run and gun feeling like, well, let's just do it. Let's go. I don't know what's
Whether
gonna
we get
happen.
it or not.
Yeah. I might die, but it's okay. All for the film. Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of it's documentary filmmaking, and then occasionally we'll have really fun like conceptual fashion shoots. But then lately we've been trying to like do a little bit more storytelling with the fashion films, so that's a lot of fun too. Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective on it.
Yeah.
Getting into the story of the models or the.
Just kind of like they're like what they're doing on like a normal day.
Okay.
Like it could just be a really pretty girl like visiting all the cafes like on the island and then having like coffee and pancakes.
Lifestyle stuff.
Lifestyle, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Super rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Wow.
where would those?
Dream.
It's really the dream. So where would those videos get shown? Then?
So the documentary films, you can find them as in-flight entertainment for Hawaiian.
Okay.
And then in the hotels, you can actually watch them, like the in-room hotel TV channels. You can actually watch majority of our content there.
The fashion ones too.
The fashion ones too.
Very cool.
Or you can go on our website.
Right.
And they're up there too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the ones that are available for viewing.
What's the website?
nmgnetwork.com.
nmgnetwork.com.
Plug in.
Like they need help with press. And MG's doing so well.
Well, I remember we were in the documentary class together.
Yes.
And yours was amazing. Was that like your
Oh,
first
thank
time?
you.
Yeah. Was that your first time doing that sort of project?
Not necessarily. Actually, when I was in high school, when I took the media program at Moanalua High School,
Nice.
we actually did a lot of, well, aside from all the narrative films that we did, occasionally we'd have documentary projects. And so I remember the very, very first documentary project I did was on powwow.
Oh, cool.
And it won first place at Olelo.
Nice.
And so that was like my first time ever just doing documentary or like a story on like the artists and like 808 Urban and all those folks there. Yeah. So
How did
yeah,
you get involved
ever-
with that originally? Did you just randomly walk up to an artist and were like, hey, can I film you?
no, actually, so my friend Andrew Tran was the one who kind of got me into that scene because Fresh Cafe was a thing then. And so I was always in that area. And so because powwow is like surrounds Fresh Cafe at the time,
Yeah.
I was always kind of surrounded by like the artistic community.
Yeah.
So everything was like by word of mouth. And then sometimes I'll see like brochures and posters and I'm like, what's powwow? What's powwow? And then I did more research and I got into it. And then I had a project assignment for class. And so I was like, I want to do it on powwow. Yeah.
But to have the guts to like step into that world that you're really unsure about, or
Oh, I
kind
was
of underground,
nervous.
I
Oh my
bet.
God. Like approaching them and then just being like, can I interview you for like a project real fast? Like I remember like stepping out of my comfort zone was like one of my biggest battles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I don't know. I just don't want people to say no to me.
Yeah.
I was
And you were
afraid of
in
that.
high school at the
Yeah,
time.
I was in
And
high
it was
school.
your first project, really.
First documentary
First
project.
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being on like on site, no like adult supervision.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
here's a story, go with it. Yeah.
There's just something inside of you that just moves you to take that next step, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That courage.
Yeah. I honestly
Very
did not know what I was doing at the time. All I
Yeah.
knew was I just needed to get interviews and B-roll.
Gotta get that B-roll.
I
man.
know.
Gotta get the B-roll. So great.
Yeah.
B-roll.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Mitchell says, "Yes, Shaneika."
Hey Mitchell, what's up? What's up?
So that's cool.
Oh, shout out to Mitchell Viernes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he was my first mentor at Wanalua High School, Minimac, the first thing he ever taught me, I remember this, I hope you remember this,
Oh my god, this
was
is great.
optical flares on After Effects.
Ah, okay.
Because I was
It would be a visual effects tip, right? You're a genius, Mitchell.
I was so enamored by his films then because I was like, oh my god, how do you make the light trail across the screen? And then he showed me his little secret optical flares pack, and he was like, don't share this with anyone. And then he
Video co-pilot
showed
done that.
me how to animate it, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Oh, so
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Mitchell.
So what even drew you to filmmaking in the first place? So you say you got into it in high school, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
What drew me? Well, it's kind of started in middle school.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Initially, I didn't really want to get into filmmaking. I actually wanted to be a singer
Oh,
because my mom pushed me to piano and vocal lessons when I was younger, and I did that for 9 to 10 years. But I wasn't my heart wasn't fully into it. It was, but not as how I am now with filmmaking. And so, my dad actually gave me my first HD camcorder, the one with the DV tapes.
Nice.
So he gave me that first, and then I just remember filming my life story.
Yeah.
As I was growing up, I just remember hey guys, I'm eating cereal today, and then I would edit it, and
This
I
is
would
before selfies were a thing.
this is
too.
this is before
Yeah.
selfies were a thing. So I would film myself making a bowl of cereal, and then film myself taking care of my birds, and I would edit it into a video, and I'd watch it, and I'd title it "A Day in the Life of Shaneika." I don't know where these videos are. I do not want to see them.
No, they need to go.
But
on
no.
YouTube.
No. That's embarrassing. No, but yeah,
That's fantastic.
that was kind of how I got started. And then middle school came around, and then you had to choose between band or media. And then I remember my cousin going into media, and so I was like, that sounds cool, I'll do that too. Got into it, and then I was in charge of doing all the the morning bulletin. So I'd be in the little back room just switching the cameras and
Feeling like
putting
a boss.
in the stories and the little ads. Yeah.
Yes.
So I would put that in, and then so that's how I kind of got started. And then I remember in middle school and then through high school, it was the media programs that I was in, they were integrated into the core classes. So it wasn't at the end of a project you'd make a book report or a really long essay.
Sure.
It was make a video that represents what you learned in science class.
Nice.
Make a documentary that represents what you learned in history. So I remember the majority of the projects that I did were mini narratives, or mini music videos, or documentaries on what I learned in science and how does photosynthesis work. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's how I got into it, and then I slowly fell in love with it throughout that whole process, because I started learning about all these different elements, and I was like, wow, this is really cool how you can put together such a visually appealing piece,
Yeah.
but also the effect that it has on the people who watch it, and how you can inspire and motivate people to do something,
You have
or
the power to influence them. Yeah.
power to influence, or at least plant a seed in their brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least just sharing your story and letting the world know that we are just like you. No one's alone. You know? It's things like that. And the storytelling aspect was what I loved too.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were cognitive about this in middle school? This is advanced.
It was
filmmaker thinking. Right
it was
here.
high school. In middle school I was just having fun.
Okay. Yeah.
But high school was where I was kind of
you were getting it.
I was getting it, and I was
Yeah.
finally finding my my style, my visual voice. And I remember people called me the Sunflower Kid. Back in high school, me and my group of friends, they nicknamed us the Sunflower Kids because at the time we were doing a lot of conceptual videos just for funsies, and we went to the sunflower field, and it was really popular back then.
Yeah.
And we made this really fun video of us just having fun at the field, and we played it as a teaser opening for the morning bulletin.
Nice.
And then everyone kind of nicknamed us as Sunflower Kids, but then that kind of paved the way for my visual style now, because it it was that style of cinematography that kind of became a catalyst for
Okay.
What?
Like conceptual.
like the
realism.
editing style and like the visual color and everything. All of those things kind of like laid the foundation for what I do now, basically, and like my visual voice. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. So messing around with those kind of things really led you to the next step of experimenting, and then you found what you liked, and you just grow after that. Go on. Wow.
Yeah.
When did you find out about ACM at UH? That the Hawaii had like a film program. Is that
It wasn't later on
they
to
don't
like
really promote it in high school?
no,
Yeah?
no. So it was later in my college career that I found out about ACM.
Oh.
Because I first took up business. I was at Scheidler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
That's a good foundation.
Yeah, because then I was like, okay, if I'm going to make this a business later down the line. Sorry, my voice is starting to.
You're
Do you
okay.
need some
You're
water?
okay.
Yes, please.
Where's that?
Here, it's right
Oh.
here.
Okay, as long as it wasn't being used for that
Thank you.
thing.
As long as it's not the tripod.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Where were we?
ACM.
ACM, yes. So I was in Scheidler because then I was like, okay, I need like a business background
Yeah.
in order to be able to do this as a full-time career.
So film was still in the forefront of your mind.
Yes.
And you took business.
Because I knew I needed some kind of foundation
Yeah.
and also like a backup plan in case it doesn't work out.
Was that your
So-
family's voice in your head saying that? Or is that just you?
It was mostly me because
Okay.
a little bit of both, but my mom
Yeah.
wanted me to be a doctor or a nurse. I was like, sorry, I faint at the sight of blood. So literally faint. Even at like my own blood, when they're doing my blood test,
Oh, geez.
I
Yeah.
faint all the time.
Oh my God.
Even in like the dentist's office, I will faint.
Oh my gosh.
So like, yeah. So
You better
I was
hope that
just
doesn't
like-
come up in your documentary.
I know.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was like, okay, yeah.
Raina, you
medical
take this one.
field. Medical field, not for me. No. So business is a safe. Yeah. So, but then later on, I like learned about ACM because I heard about this orientation for creative media, and I was like, that sounds cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
I
Like
only
the word
heard,
media. I know that word.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds like my home. Yeah. So then I remember I saw like I don't remember what I saw, but I just saw some ad or something about it.
Yeah.
I went to the orientation and it was Joel who was speaking, and I was so like I was intimidated by him, but at the same time I was like inspired by his enthusiasm.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I knew he was a director, I could tell.
Yeah. He's
Like-
invigorating to watch him
Yeah.
speak like that. It's wild.
And it got me like excited. Like I was like, oh my God, like I can do this? Okay, I'll consider. So yeah, so after that orientation I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch.
Nice.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
I was gonna do like a major and a minor, but
Yeah.
then with all the projects that I had going on, I was like, I don't have time to pursue business as a minor or like a double major. So I was just like,
Do you mean just
Bye.
school projects, or were you taking on other photography projects at the same time?
I was
too?
freelancing at the same time.
Knew it.
I was
Knew it.
freelancing and I was interning at
You're
the
so
same
productive. It's
time.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but I get burnt out really fast because I'm working like 24/7.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was interning and I was like freelancing at the same time. So I was like, it's not realistic for me to do a minor if
No,
I'm
yeah.
already kind of learning about business on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm
Learn
just
by doing.
exactly yeah. So I was like, plus everything that I was learning was like theory. It wasn't. It wasn't really application based, or at least the classes that I was taking. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. My heart's telling me to drop it.
Where
Yeah.
were you interning?
I was interning at.
Was it a production company? Remember?
I was interning. Just kidding. No, I was interning in my senior year. I was
Okay,
working
okay.
a lot
Yeah.
before that. The year before that, I was working a lot.
Freelance life.
Freelance life. No, I was working at Urban Outfitters.
Oh no, retail.
But I was there. They hired me initially for my photography because they wanted me to oversee the Instagram and the
Oh, that's
wow.
cool.
the media platform.
Yeah.
And so that was really fun
That's
for like,
major.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we, so I was in charge of kind of just like managing the Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and my team, we were like scheduling shoots with like models and local people. And then we were also like planning events, like in-store events with
Yeah.
like local artisans and like
Wow.
musicians. Yeah, it was really fun. So that was kind of one of my jobs when I was at Urban.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also like a retail employee. I was also working the sales floor.
Is that how you first got into that position? Was you like you applied for a retail job, or did they see your
No, they
photography
actually,
somewhere and-
one of them, the original owner of the account reached out to me on Instagram.
Wow.
And then she was like, hey, I really like your pictures. Like,
Yeah.
would you be down to, you know, contribute to the Instagram page for your Urban Outfitters Hawaii? And I was like, duh. Why not? I know. I was like, I've loved your store since I was a kid. So I was like, yes, yes, yes.
So cool.
So yeah, so that happened. And then eventually she transferred the position over to me because she moved to the mainland. And then that's when that kind of got my momentum going, and that kind of got me more involved with like the artistic community here in Hawaii, because
Right.
we were outsourcing so many people to get involved with the store, to feature their products in the store,
Right.
get them to like play a show at the store, show their products in the store. So it was a lot of like going into the community and just bringing everyone together.
You're like 20 years old at this point, and you're like running this on your own.
Yeah, I
initiative.
was. I was like
That's so crazy.
21 or something. Yeah.
Girl.
So with that, I couldn't double major or do a minor
You were already a graduate of business school. You know what I mean?
in the field.
In heart.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what happened.
Wow. I almost want to ask, like, why did you move on from Urban Outfitters? Because that in itself could have been such a big launching point, you know, for you.
It was actually they flew me out as a representative for Hawaii up to
Nice. Like LA?
headquarters. No, their headquarters is in Philly. Yeah, it was beautiful. But yeah, so I got a firsthand experience as to what it was like at home office.
Wow.
But yeah, I like talked to the CEO and everything, and like the lead like social media managers of like the main Urban Outfitters account, and I was so intimidated, but I was like so inspired by these people.
Right, yeah. And you're like, that could be you one day.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted it, if you chose
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But then like later on, as I kept working at Urban Outfitters, my heart kept telling me that I needed to kind of discover filmmaking more, explore filmmaking more, because I was doing so much photography. Like, granted, I was doing a few videos here and there for them, but then my heart kept telling me like story.
Yeah, narrative
Storytelling.
filmmaking is so different. And you
Yeah.
can't learn that on your own. I mean, I guess some people do, but taking like a screenwriting class is so invaluable. In that. Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually I felt like it was time for me to leave the company. They gave me a really good foundation though.
Yeah.
As far as like, that's where I kind of solidified my visual style and my visual voice, because doing so much of those fashion like shoots and stuff, I kind of discovered what I wanted to do, what I wanted my work to look like.
Yeah.
And so I like moved on from the company, and then I was working a few jobs here and there as social media manager, which is really funny. It's like that's what like people knew me for at that time, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a social media manager. I want to create the content. Yeah, I want to do filmmaking. But yeah, so then eventually that's when, that's like senior year of college, and that was when I started to intern at Hawaii Media Inc. And so then I started to get like literal hands-on
Right.
experience with like pre-production, and then talking to the people too, like what it was like to work on set.
Yeah,
What it
you
was
probably
like.
learned how to be a grip too, just
Yeah.
being there. Yeah.
And that helped me too, especially because in my senior year, I realized I wanted to be a DP. And I also wanted to be an editor.
Wow.
So I felt like in order for me to be able to achieve those two goals, I at least needed the knowledge of what it's like to build out a set and to like work with people, you know, what it takes to like bring a story to life. So interning at the production company, I like learned like fundamental aspects of like cinema and like lighting, like grip and all that stuff, which was very important in the long run, especially with like all the huge ACM like short film narrative projects that we had. It helped out a lot.
Yeah, so now you know like what kind of equipment is essential, like what you need.
Yeah.
From like the bare bones C stands, apple boxes, cranes, whatever.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, ACM faculty. Literally. But yeah, so yeah, ACM laid the foundation, and then like I just supplemented it with internships and just taking on all these projects. No matter how busy I was like, I need the experience.
Yeah.
I think the opportunity will help me a lot.
No matter how tired you got, you still like pushed yourself to that next level. You felt it inside of you. You wanted it. Yeah.
Oh my God. I just remember one of the last films that I DP'd for ACM. I was suffering from a high fever. And I was sick. I was literally dying on set. But I was the DP for her film, and like I just pushed myself. I just kept going because I was so passionate about her story. And she was so great to work with. Like, she really knew how to connect with the characters, and like she really got a hold of her story. And I was like, I need to make sure that I am able to show that visually. And so like I just kept pushing myself. But
it's not running down your nose.
No, literally, like everyone would be like, Shaneika, do you need this? Like, and they'll like take the camera off of my shoulder, and they're like, okay, go sit. We're gonna do another run through with blocking. You go rest. And I'll be like sitting like on the chair with like a medical mask or like with a napkin, just like or like using the tea as like my humidifier.
Get the steam.
I get the steam.
But good for you. You know, finish what you started. That's great. Yeah, you say yes to DP the project. You got to see it through. Yeah.
It was fun. It was a really good experience because now I know my limits. But I also know my strengths now. Yeah.
Well, in all this, I'm seeing like what's really separating you from the others is your drive to just keep going and do more. And even if it's not for class, you're looking for opportunities to just do your craft. And anyone can say, I want to be a filmmaker. Anyone can grab their iPhone and start doing stuff, but you seek out other people's projects to jump on. You make your own projects, and you're willing to learn, which is amazing.
Thanks.
So
not easy to do.
No, but you're going far, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so. It's all for the craft.
Well, you've come so far already. Like what do you? I know you've been at NMG for a few months, since.
Well, I started as an intern.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they moved me to part-time. And then this year, New Year's, they moved me to full-time.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I guess my question is like, what's your plan? Or do you have a plan? What's your vision for your life? What do you want to do?
I have a lot.
Okay.
I do know that I want to pursue just being a cinematographer.
Okay.
Because I just love the power of cinema and like how one shot can literally change everything you ever knew about yourself and like the world. Like how like one shot from one film can move you to different places in your mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have an example that you could use as a reference?
Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, wait, hold on.
Not to put you on the spot.
I'm like thinking, oh my God, what movie was that?
Just describe the scene.
It was two. I remember it was a girl and a guy, and they were in a room. And, shucks.
The Room.
If you know what movie this is that I'm talking about, please tell me. Text
Comment
me.
now.
Comment now.
It's just a girl and a guy
It was a girl and a guy in a room, and it was...
Tommy Wiseau, The Room.
No. Oh my God, no. Oh, hi, Mark.
remember the actors, or just what?
No,
happened? Just,
oh my God.
Describe what happened and what evoked the emotion from it.
I just remember it was like a really long take. It was just one shot,
Okay.
and like the camera was, it was positioned in a way where it felt like you were there in the room with them, and they weren't saying anything. They were just looking at each other. But the camera wasn't moving. There were no like fancy visual effects. The camera wasn't like pushing in or anything.
Yeah.
It was just the two of them in that moment. And because the editor left that scene for that length of time, I had the opportunity to like sit with them. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Like I remember empathizing for the protagonist, but at the same time, I was able to put myself in the shoes of the antagonist. So I was like torn between these two characters, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, epic.
Yeah.
Pacing.
Pacing. It was
Everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I love films with like long shots. Long shots. Doesn't have to be fancy. And all it is the character's emotion evoking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it when it's a long shot like that and you don't realize it until after the fact. Or like
Yeah,
like
because
a
you're
couple minutes
so-
in, you're like,
yeah.
Wait, there haven't been any cuts.
Right? Because it's so seamless and you're so involved with the story that you just don't notice any of those creative like techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Still don't know the name of that film. That's gonna
It'll come
bother
to
me.
you later
That's
on
gonna
tonight.
bother me. I'm gonna search it up now.
Was it recent?
No,
Do you
this
remember
was
the
this
actors?
this was a while ago. I just remember it was a lanky kid. I think he was only in his underwear,
Like you get in his underwear. The girl.
and it was a girl. I can't remember if she had short blonde hair. Unless I'm mixing this up with that Netflix show, that British Netflix show,
That British. Black
The End
Mirror.
of the Effing World.
Oh, I've seen that. I hear it's great.
It's great. Yeah,
There's a lot on Netflix I want to.
you should see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife is watching Umbrella Academy.
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
Same.
You digging it?
Digging it. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not really into the whole like live action stuff though.
Oh.
But I like the story of the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not until live action. Whatever ends.
Like, what's it called? I'm not into like. I hope no one hates me for saying this. I'm like, eh.
This is a safe
I
space.
mean, thanks for watching, but
Safe
you know.
space.
I'm not into like huge fighting like action
Oh, okay.
scenes.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
yeah.
So not
Yeah.
a fan of like the Marvel movies. or,
Yeah,
like-
well, Umbrella Academy is really good, but there are aspects of the story where it kind of started to feel really cliche.
Okay.
Like there will be scenes where they break out into this romantic dance, and I'm like, okay, that really pulled me out of that moment. I was like, we don't need to know that they're in love with each other. We can already tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's just like there's not a lot of live action scenes in that in that series. It's just like it's like the story that drew me in. Because I just want to know what's going to happen.
Sure.
I just want to know if the end of the world is going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Nice.
But yeah, I just like the dynamics between all the different characters because there's so many of them. There's not like one protagonist. Yeah,
Cool.
it's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those kind of stories too.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's I like now when I watch things, I'm not passive as I was before. Because now I'm like, oh, I watch a scene, I'm like, that's cliche. Or like they say a line, and I'm like, were you that lazy?
Spoon feed it to me.
I
right
know.
now. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you're knocking me on the head with that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dumb do you think the audience is? Yeah.
I know. It's but it's a really great series. Yeah,
Cool.
you should watch it. I like it. Yeah.
So are you drawn more towards drama then?
Yes.
Okay.
And psychothrillers.
Psychothrillers?
Yes.
Okay. Do tell.
Wild answer. I love it.
Gone Girl for one.
Okay.
Oh my god, I love that film.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that film.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Did you watch Hereditary?
Oh my god, no. Is that the horror one?
Yeah.
I can't do horror, dude.
Oh, is
Oh, yeah.
psychothriller not like horror?
It's more.
I can do horror as long as it's not like The Conjuring.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Hereditary is more based in real life. Kind
Okay.
of, ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Demons.
Yeah.
Oh my god, A Quiet Place.
I haven't seen
So,
that yet.
Yeah.
are you
I
serious?
want to.
You have to.
I know.
You have to.
I know.
I haven't seen it yet either.
It's-
We have to watch it.
It's so good. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like that's another really good visual piece because it's literally in the title, A Quiet Place. There's like
That's all they have.
There's
Just the
barely-
visuals.
yeah, honestly, I'm like imagining what the script would have looked like, and it's all just action lines.
Right.
Yeah, like there's minimal dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
All of the the story is in like the characters' emotions and their faces, and like oh my god, and like the camera placing. Like I was on my I was at the edge of my seat the whole time I was watching that. It was oh my god, you have to watch it.
I've got to watch it.
And
yeah.
sound design too is amazing because it's because sound design on its own already is like really complicated, like especially shooting on location, but to shoot something quietly,
Yeah.
that's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
But you should watch it. It's very emotion based. Very, yeah.
Cool. Did you see Annihilation?
No,
That's super good.
what is that one?
It's more. It's
That's the Natalie
sci-fi.
Portman one that just
Oh.
came
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
It's on Netflix now. Yeah.
Oh, is it on Netflix now?
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was out last year.
Okay.
In theaters, and now it's on Netflix.
What is that one about?
There's a weird, like an asteroid hits Earth somewhere down in Florida, and it creates this weird dome around, barrier around this area that starts to expand, and they call it the shimmer. And people go in, they don't come back out, and so Natalie Portman's husband is part of a military unit that goes in to investigate. He actually comes back out, and he's like all whacked out and whatever. So they pick her and a team of women to go in and investigate, and just like weird ass shit.
Really trippy, like rainbow.
Is it like
stuff.
Interstellar?
But on Earth?
On Earth, yeah, I would say better. Like you see,
Ooh.
like animals start to mutate, and
But in
Okay.
like a beautiful way. Like mutate, not in like a zombie
Like thinking
way.
Alien?
Yeah.
No, but in like a ravey elf rainbow.
Oh,
It's
oh.
really beautiful. It's really
Wait,
cool.
I thought
Okay.
you said you haven't seen it.
Annihilation? I
Yeah.
have.
You have?
Not not Quiet Place, but I saw
Beautiful
Annihilation.
mutation?
Yeah. With
The bear.
okay, there's the bear. There's the scary
Exceptions.
bear.
There's the bear. And woo dog.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, that's definitely a psycho thriller.
Yeah, I would say so.
I would call
Sci-fi
it.
thriller.
Sci-fi
Sci-fi.
I like sci-fi thrillers.
films.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like sci-fi. I like psycho thrillers. I don't know. I like things that are realistic to the human experience, but I also really enjoy things that challenge conventional wisdom, like Interstellar. And
Yeah.
literally, I remember like going home from the theaters that night and just listening to the entire soundtrack and researching quantum theory. What is that?
Yeah.
Can I travel through space and time?
That's what I love is like how it can explore different concepts and the way Christopher Nolan is able to do that visually.
I know.
And with actors and the set design and everything.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of time dilation. You know?
What is that?
Yeah. I mean the idea that like, time here is different than what's in orbit around Earth
Right.
now.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes,
yeah.
Organized
yes.
satellites.
Oh my god.
Totally new idea.
So wacky. And then the idea that, like years can pass when you're on a planet versus when you're on the ship.
Seconds could be.
Seconds on the planet
Un-
are years in the
Yeah,
ship.
yeah.
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 Like when that dude ages 3 years after they're down
Yeah.
there. For, wow. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. I love sci-fi films.
So is that in your future then? Is that what you're gonna go after?
What do you mean?
Like creating a sci-fi world?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I don't have the capacity to do that yet.
Well, like being the DP on, yeah, seriously, director
Huh?
of sci-fi stuff right here,
Oh,
Cliff Bailey.
yeah, that's
Hello.
I did talk to you about that.
Yeah, you
Back
did.
when everything seemed like awesome. Now, not so much.
Oh, shut up.
It's okay.
Everything's still awesome.
Well, have you seen Arrival?
Yes.
So like
did.
DPing Arrival, would that be like your top goal?
Wait, I'm like confusing that with Gravity and Interstellar. Which one is that one?
Same thing. I mean, DPing one of those films is
Right.
that like your, and then like winning an Oscar for it, is that Like
Oh, I
bullet
would
upon
love
goals.
to. Yeah.
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 Like top of your vision board.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Sci-fi.
Very cool.
What
Sci-fi
about The
drama.
Martian?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes.
A little bit of comedy sprinkled in there.
Well, I was
Now
wondering
you're
if maybe that's
talking.
starting to get closer to more tropey, audience-pleasing stuff because of that. But it still has the real
The science.
hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just curious.
I love The Martian.
Like, where's the line? Maybe it's obvious between that and like, well, Star Trek. Actually, good Star
Right.
Trek is still good sci-fi, but then Star Wars.
Right.
What do you say?
Are you pro Star Wars?
Someone's gonna kill me for saying this.
No, that wasn't my question.
Wait, well,
Like, that's more like, I guess, sci-fi adventure, but is it sci-fi? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Because it's a whole different world, you mean?
I
And it's not
guess.
based in this one?
Yeah. I reckon. Yeah.
Good question.
I like Star Wars.
It's more fantasy.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
fantasy. I like Star Wars for like the fantasy aspect of it, but I'm not as into it as I am with films like Interstellar, Gravity, Martian, Arrival, stuff like that.
Right on.
Like, I don't know, it's hard for me to connect with characters that don't look human.
Yeah.
And they're talking. Like, even when I was, like, even as a young kid, don't kill me. Even as a young kid, I never liked SpongeBob. I never,
Oh, big reveal, folks.
I never liked Fairly Odd Parents, never liked Powerpuff Girls. I honestly really didn't enjoy watching, like, I don't know, like unrealistic stuff. I really didn't like watching animals talking. I think the closest I got was like Berenstain Bears. Yeah, Berenstain Bears and Curious George and what else? Teletubbies? Teletubbies, not so much. I was really irritated with the Sunchild. I was like,
The only human.
I know the only human in that,
Ironic.
but I was like, it's just the head. It's a little weird.
Yeah, kind of weird.
But yeah, I was never into like cartoons. Like the only thing that I was into was like Scooby Doo, but that's because it was kind of realistic. It was like people solving mysteries.
Which is kind of what Berenstain Bears is too. It's super realistic, and those could be humans, and nothing
Yeah.
would change really.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's kind of, I don't know, that was just always a thing for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't connect with a talking sponge or a talking starfish. I just couldn't. Like they needed to be real humans. That's why even now, like, I mean, I do like fantasy. I do like all that stuff because it's fun to watch. But at the same time, it's a little bit more difficult for me to really connect with the story if it's a girl with wings and she turns into Tinkerbell and flies into space. Like, it's fun to watch. It's like so ethereal and beautiful, but at the same time, just like, no, yeah. That's why I like things that are more human, more human.
Yeah. I feel like when I do watch, the Avengers or something, then I'm eating pizza. But if I'm like watching like Annihilation or Ex Machina, then I'm like eating a steak dinner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Marvel and Deadpool and all that stuff. Like Deadpool I love. He is funny.
He's
If you can throw in comedy in there and break the third wall, you got my attention.
I love it.
Yeah. So, more humanistic films, I guess you can say. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Does the brain generate consciousness? Or are we spiritual beings tied to a physical meat?
Oh, that is a challenge I ask myself every day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, question that I ask myself every day.
Dish.
I feel like we're like spiritual beings in the physical world. I don't know. I've been reading a lot about not reading. I've been searching a lot about like the human existence lately, and I've been like getting into like conspiracy theories and like singularity, like theories of singularity and like like, is this reality or is this actually simulation?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like things like that. Like,
And if it's simulation, who's running the simulation?
like who's Big Brother? Who is that guy? Like, is any of this real? And like time is relative. Like all those things. Like
Right.
like nothing is certain. Like no one sees no one knows what the end of mankind looks like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. So
But even if those questions are out there, it doesn't make this life not worth living too. Do you kind of agree with that? Like even if it was a simulation, that doesn't mean that our lives are meaningless.
Right.
no,
Thing?
no.
Yeah.
We definitely have purpose for being here on this earth.
Whether
Like
we have free will or not.
whether we have free will or not, whether we are aware that we have free will or not. I feel like no matter what, we have a purpose.
Love that.
Like
Yes.
existing and being here.
Yes.
We may not know what that purpose is right now,
I was gonna say, what is that?
but like, yeah, I don't know.
And maybe
I'm
every
still
day it's
searching
different.
that. Maybe every day, yeah. Every day you have a different purpose, different task, different thing that you have to go to or do. But whether you're aware of what your purpose is or not, like this life is, it is worth living. Yeah.
What do you think happens when we die?
You see, I've been going to church lately
Okay.
because there are those questions that I'm still trying to find answers for because when I was younger, I wasn't taught that we were going to heaven when we die. Only chosen people are sent to heaven. That's what I was taught.
Was that Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
144,000.
Yeah, 140 for the anointed ones. So that's what I was taught when I was younger.
Okay.
And then, as I got older, I started to question, like, life a little bit more. I started to question, like, human existence and, like, is there a higher power that exists up there?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I know in my gut there is a higher force up there, but I'm still trying to find for myself, like, what that is or who that is and why.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you kind of leaning towards, you think? Or, there's powerful... I'm sorry, I might have just brain farted there. Oh, gosh.
It's okay. It's the end of the day. End of the workday.
Well, do you believe in maybe your soul living on in another being after you pass on?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
And maybe you don't have to answer it, really, but just to entertain the thought of maybe your life purpose is to go on and fulfill another purpose and then another purpose.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's invigorating to think about that our consciousness is just going to be cycling over and over until
But
the
like,
end.
why though?
Yeah, these are the
Why?
questions.
Like, yeah.
Why would it though?
Is there a higher spiritual order governing everything? Or is it just nature, molecules recycling?
But why?
Well, yeah,
And,
yeah.
You know, like how
Was
did?
it just spontaneous combustion of the universe into
Right.
existence? And it's just like...
Well, science tells us yes, and with entropy, isn't everything just being recycled? You know,
Because, matter is never
matter,
destroyed.
yeah.
It's all conserved.
That's true.
But is consciousness
It
matter?
just changes forms. Yeah, and that this just blew my mind a couple weeks ago.
I love this discussion.
Jenny and I were taking the story to the playground, and we were just happening to be listening to HPR, and this guy was talking about dualism and something, and the statement was said, people think that the brain generates consciousness,
Right.
and I don't think that, and just that really got my noodle twisting, and I never thought of that because I grew up Protestant,
Right.
going to church, evangelical, and there's the spirit and then there's the body, and the body is basically our meat car to carry around our spirits and souls and whatever. And then when our bodies die, our souls go elsewhere,
Right.
depending on your soul's fate or whatever. Will determine where you go and that kind of thing. But it never occurred to me that maybe consciousness, we assume it resides in the brain because that's where our eyes are and that's where our ears are, and that's where we do most of our interactions, I guess, is through the head. And then, once the brain is gone or injured or affected in some capacity, that can seriously affect your behavior to the point of shutting it off completely. And then the brain or the body can still survive and stuff. So it's just something I've really been grappling with lately. That and meaning.
Another thing that I remember I was at work once and this thought just came to me, but it was like, you know how we don't have control over what we like, what we dislike, and what we love and what we hate? Like, those are kind of like inner feelings that we have, but it almost feels like they were originally there from birth, you know?
Wow.
So it's like, did someone put that there before we were born? You know, like where does it come from? Where, you know, like we don't have like they even say you don't have control over who you love, who you like, what you're attracted to. So like, where does it come from then?
Wow.
And like, is there a greater meaning to that? Like, is there a reason why it was preconceived
Yeah.
before we are even aware of it? You know, like, is there a reason for that? You know, like,
The Mormons believe that we were all deities before we're born, and then when we get chosen to be put into a fetus, we get crammed down from these grand, bodies or whatever, and then all our eternal knowledge it's spluted out because we're tiny, and that's why babies cry, because they're like, I lost my eternal knowledge.
why am I in this body?
Yeah. So, or at least at one point they believed that. I don't know if they still do. Yeah, that. And then also you can get into psychology.
Right.
And like, and even like, do we inherit, we inherit physical traits from our parents. Because we have physical resemblances to
Right.
it. But do we also inherit emotional, spiritual things?
And you're not talking about like nature versus nurture.
Well, that too.
That too.
Like, is it nature that passes on those kinds of behaviors and proclivities and stuff, or is it nurture, like learned behavior? Because also, kids who are adopted can start to resemble their parents through their behavior. And they're born to someone else completely. But, if they're young enough, then their hard drive is still, so to speak, clean and starts getting their OS.
Or is it clean? Because what Shaneika was bringing up is that you're born with those preconceived ideas, right?
Right.
That
Yeah, there could be that
taste,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
Have you ever
interesting.
watched that documentary on those three brothers that got separated at birth?
No.
Oh, this
I've
Oh my
heard
God!
about-
Wait, what's it called?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's it called? What's it
What's
called?
it
What's it
called?
called?
Internet.
Comment.
Yes, please.
Comment. But it's three brothers, and they're separated at birth, and the mom. Oh my God, you have to watch it. But like, they were separated at birth, but none of them knew they were siblings because it was a closed adoption. The mom didn't want them to know that. Well, the agency didn't tell the mom what they were going to do with the kids. And she didn't know that they were going to be subjects of an experiment with this really skewed, like, scientist, whoever he was.
Wait, so he adopted all three?
No, the
He
kids
kept
got,
tabs on them?
yeah, the kids got put through this science experiment, and like all throughout when they were growing up, there was always an observer or like a researcher that would always visit them on like a monthly or weekly basis, and they would just have them do these little tasks like building blocks or like writing things or drawing things or asking them questions.
Yeah.
But like the adoptive parents of those kids never knew why. They were just told, oh, it's just to monitor because they're adopted. This is part of the procedure.
Oh, that's
But
how they
it
got
was-
away with it. I was wondering.
That's how they got away with it. But
There's a
there
line
was
that's
something.
crossed.
There was something deeper. It was actually for research because I believe initially I think he was Russian or something. The scientist, he wanted to know. He basically that nature versus nurture. Like
Yeah.
he wanted to know if you put these three brothers who are birthed from the same person, if you put them in three different kinds of living situations, like would they grow up to be
Wow.
the same, or would they be different,
Yeah.
or would they still have those qualities from like would they inherit qualities from their birth parents,
Right.
And it oh my God, everything was planned, like nothing was by spontaneity or anything. It was like they put one brother into a working class family, they put one brother into a middle class family, they put another brother in this wealthy, prolific family, like doctors and like
Sure.
this huge, beautiful home, while the rest were like the other two, well, the other one was living with a working class family, and then the other one was working with a huge family, was with a huge family in like small home, you know, couldn't really afford anything. But like, they just wanted to compare and contrast, like, how much of an effect does nurture have?
Yeah.
And
this is over like
Does-
20 years or something? Like long
something like
time?
that. Yeah. So like, eventually the brothers found out about each other. Eventually.
Wow.
So it was something about like, one of the brothers went to this high school, and then he like moved to a different school or something, and then his twin brother went to that started going to that school, and on his first day, everyone was calling him by a different name, but they were all like, "Hey
my
man,
God.
nice to see you
This
again."
is a movie.
Yeah. And then his best friend was like, something about like, "Hey man, like, you don't seem like yourself," or something like that. Or he was like, "Oh, there's this guy, like, everyone keeps calling me by this name, but I don't know why." And then like, I think his brother's best friend was like, "Dude, you look exactly like my
That's so
friend.
trippy.
We're gonna call him right now, and you guys look exactly alike. We're gonna set up a meetup and everything." So they met up, and eventually it got on like the newspapers and television shows. And then the third brother, someone told him like, "Hey, there's this other guy. He looks just like you guys. Same hair, eyes, facial features, everything." So they got him connected, and all three of them got reunited.
Oh my God, I'd be tripping
And then
out.
I know, and it was, they were on television and like on the news, like all over the place. Like, they were famous for a really long time.
Yeah.
And then they started a business together, and then they like, it seemed like they were happy.
Yeah.
On the surface, it seemed like everything was perfect. Finally reunited, separated at birth. But then everyone started questioning, why were they separated at birth? And then that's when their adoptive parents started questioning, who were those people that kept coming to the home?
Wow.
And like, why? Why did they want to know about them so much? And like, that's when like everyone started to put the puzzle pieces together, and that's when they realized like,
Was it like U.S. government doing the research?
no, I don't know. It was like some underground
Oh, interesting.
Russian, I don't know. It was, oh, I love that documentary. It was so good. But like, but yeah, they really, it really kind of opened my eyes with.
Were they
the
similar in
effects.
personality? Or maybe in some mannerisms?
In some, yes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
yes, now that you
Yeah.
bring that up,
Yeah.
they have the same likes, the same dislikes,
Oh, there you go
the
with your
same,
theory.
the same interests,
Wow.
similar everything, but deeper. Everything was different. A lot of things were different, personality-wise. But then when they found their biological mother, she was schizophrenic and she was suffering from different mental health disorders. And one of the brothers actually committed suicide because he was battling with depression and like similar mental disorders like the mom. So it was inherited. But the other two brothers didn't. You know, they were like, they were in stable, happy like lives. Although, you know, after everything that's happened, they're not as close as they were before. Because of the media and because of the press, it like pushed them apart.
Yeah.
So they're not as close as they were before.
Does the documentary go through that process
Oh
too?
my God, yeah.
The press and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. I gotta look
It's,
that up. That's pretty
it's
cool.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's very cool.
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
Real life Parent Trap.
I know.
So trippy.
But it's such a invigorating story. And then also too, just like the way the filmmakers like pieced that whole story together and
Yeah.
like how they unraveled everything from like birth to like, you know, the mystery of it all, and how even till this day, they still don't know why. They still don't know why.
They don't know
because-
what organization was
No,
researching them
because
kind
the
of
guy
thing?
died.
Oh my gosh.
And the people that he hired won't talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
There's only one of them that will, but she wasn't in the organization with them.
Yeah.
She was just an intern. She was an outsider.
That's some Orphan Black shit right there. You
Yeah.
ever see Orphan Black?
No.
You gotta watch Orphan Black on TV. It's amazing.
I feel like I've heard of it. Is it British?
It was on BBC America.
BBC, okay.
Is it online? Can I watch it online?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got.
I don't have cable.
Yeah. That's how we watched it. Was like through iTunes and stuff.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black.
Orphan
Write that in my head.
Definitely. You will like it. Sci-fi and it's like really great character work.
Love that.
That's what I like. Yeah. Drama.
Yes. So you mentioned you want to go into cinematography,
Yes.
but do you also like? Do you want to? And that would be working on other people's projects, I would assume, like being hired as a cinematographer.
Yeah, because I can't write to save my life.
But do you still want to pursue documentaries also?
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, that's kind of things that I'm like juggling with because I'm passionate about being a DP and I also like editing. I like being an editor. I like being able to piece a story together and see it come to life.
Yeah.
But I also like kind of being my own boss almost because in documentary filmmaking you can literally take a hold of all those positions.
Yeah.
You know, create your own story, be as creative as you want to be.
Sure.
And you get to edit, which you
get
love.
to edit, you get to take control of the story. The story is provided for you
Yeah.
Sometimes.
sometimes. But sometimes you have to go look for it. Yeah.
It isn't that cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm passionate about. I'm more passionate about documentary filmmaking because I'm just very interested in like the human experience and like conspiracy theories and like
Are
all
there
that crazy
stories
stuff.
that are kind of percolating you'd like to tackle, just haven't been able to yet?
I haven't really thought of that. I've been working on a lot of other people's projects. So I've been focusing more of my energy on that stuff. Yeah.
Maybe kind of like this is a period of preparation.
I guess so. I guess you can say that. Yeah. Learning under people first before I go on my own.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Then you can take on the pyramids.
Oh my god.
Speaking of
Oh my
conspiracy.
god. Speaking of
Dude, I love all that pyramid.
for
shit.
a
I love
whole week, I was just mind blown at like, oh my god. Like I remember someone I know like sent me a picture and he was like, look at this picture of the pyramids. He says on the bottom blocks, everything is symmetrical. They're made of limestone, which is difficult to carve out, difficult to put together, difficult to haul from under the water and onto land in the middle of a desert and to like, you know, stack them on top of each other. Like logically, you would need a whole army of really strong beasts to be able to have the capacity to do that. And then on top of those blocks, it's like really ugly bricks. Like it's like smaller bricks and they're like all scattered around each other. There's not really much of a plan. They kind of just stack things together so you can kind of see the different periods of time in that one picture. And I was just like, wow, how is there nothing written about the first people?
Oh yeah.
You know, like who are those people? And where are they now?
Are you talking about the Egyptian pyramids?
Yeah, the Egyptian pyramids. Yeah.
Well, conventional wisdom says slave labor.
No. So that's those were the. Do I say bricks? Are they called bricks?
Yeah.
Those were the bricks that were on top.
Okay.
So there was already a foundation there before they got there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Built around that.
And so the bricks that they made was made out of, I remember it was like mud and sand and like wheat sticks or something. And just like molded together. But the ones below them are like, was it granite? Limestone, which is a much tougher rock.
Okay.
So like back then we're assuming they didn't have the technology to be able to break through such a thick, strong rock, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember this guy was doing some kind of scientific mathematics and he was saying something like it would take you a year to like carve this guy out from this stone into a nice square or something like that. Yeah, and so he was like,
Stargate.
what is that?
Oh, it's a movie where they posit that aliens are the Egyptian gods and they have this interdimensional gate portal that they go
Oh.
through.
But yeah,
It's from the 90s, 98. So.
I'll check that out. Never heard of it.
What do you think of that theory though, that it is aliens?
I don't know. See, the thing is, like, they said if you look at the pyramids and you look at the way they're positioned, they're actually pointing up at the stars,
Right.
at 3 stars. I think it's Orion's belt. But they're, like, pointing directly up at them.
Yeah.
But then there's Tesla, that guy. So he claimed that he founded the reason. Well, he made something, and like it was something about harnessing the Earth's energy, the core.
I've seen stuff like that.
And then it was being applied to the pyramids and how they serve the same purpose because they're not tombs.
Yeah.
There aren't actual graves in there. There aren't actual dead people in there. It's just the pharaohs, but that was it.
There's like a weird chamber going down. And
Exactly. There's like weird chambers and these weird secret passages, and it was like, it doesn't look like something that would house like dead people. It looked more like a factory for something.
Or it's like an energy generator.
Energy
is what I
generator,
saw.
yeah. And like, why?
There's some cool YouTube videos out there.
Well,
Man.
I know.
They get real deep. Real deep.
I know. I can get stuck into that rabbit hole for hours or days.
But when you bring up that there's no tombs in there, like all these scientists, what do they have to say about that?
I know, yeah.
It's not a tomb, but this is what we're being taught, that like Indiana Jones, goes to the tomb.
I know,
and
right?
It's a tomb,
Yeah.
but really they're like
It's not.
creating hydrogen or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so trippy.
And it was like, why a pyramid? Like, why that high? Like, why? I don't know. It's, watch the videos.
Sure. Crazy.
You're going to get stuck in that rabbit hole for a long time.
I've done it before. Sasquatch.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what about that? Sorry, one more thing about the pyramids.
Yes.
What about the fact that it's in Egypt and it's in South America?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
crazy.
So, what my cousin said something about like when the Earth was like Pangea or something,
Yeah.
when everything was one huge continent, that there was one like species of mankind, and that they were the ones that built
Oh, and they taught the lessons of how to build.
something like that. Like they were the ones that built those foundations, and like, they said something about like those rocks that they use are rocks that'll last thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So it had to be like ancient people or like people of higher intelligence. And then I remember someone saying that maybe they were just so smart that they just ditched Earth and they went somewhere else. Let's leave our cousins here. I don't know. I really don't know. But like, they were saying like when it was that whole huge continent, just Pangea, like that was when, when they were building their society, they were building all those like pyramids and stuff. And then eventually when, the land started to break off, that's how they ended up in like all these different places across the earth. That's what my cousin was saying.
One thing I find interesting, I took an anthropology class at some point, and over the course of the evolution of humanity, there's one point about 50,000 years ago, and there's no indication as to exactly what happened, but suddenly they just go from primitive to civilized, not like like upright talking or whatever, but using tools and
agriculture.
It's like they missed the whole era of like humans and
there's
mankind.
some kind of flashpoint or singularity or something that occurred.
Someone
So-
erased,
Vision in the sky.
Yeah.
someone erased our history books.
Obelisk.
Yeah. An arrival of something.
Yeah.
So,
See, that's why I love science.
Very, very cool. You ever entertain the thought that like we've been imprinted with this kind of history? I think that's what the Mormons believe, or some religions believe, that we've been imprinted with this this history of like dinosaurs and ancient Egyptians, and maybe that's just like flaws in that history would be like, oh, the limestone is so perfectly carved and it wouldn't be possible, or like that's why dinosaurs shouldn't have been in this area, but there's bones there, and it's because some higher power put them there and like made a mistake in some way,
well, that's a Christian theory.
Christian,
actually,
okay,
called the like ancient or aged Earth or something. They believe the Earth's only 6,000 years old.
Right.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
It was made to look old for some reason, and not taking into account that galaxies are billions of years.
I know. The
No, they were made
universe,
to be old.
the universe itself is like old.
Yeah.
Like trillion or numbers that I can't even pronounce. Like years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's like there has to have been an era that lived before us.
Or it's a simulation.
That's true. Maybe all of this
And
is
so it's
fake,
just
guys.
made,
This
The
is,
yeah.
fact that the universe is just so incomprehensibly big, and to think like
and
we're the
it's
only
never
intelligent
ending.
beings.
And it's never ending.
Well, it is.
I can't wrap my mind around
But
that.
we just can't find it yet,
Yeah.
or something, because it's
Yeah.
expanding.
Also, there's no
So there's-
beginning and no end
But that's the Big Bang.
for time.
But is there?
No beginning
It's
and no end.
trippy. It
Yeah.
is trippy AF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And will we ever know?
I know. We will never know.
Never
Well,
know.
that's why film is such a great metaphor, because
Yeah.
I really thought you had something there.
Something really deep.
Manipulation of time, and it's always moving forward, yet we can make events go backward. You can reverse the film. I don't know. It's a flat circle. Time's a flat circle. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's
That was good.
yeah,
That was
good.
really good.
Yeah.
It got me thinking.
Oh.
I'm gonna go home now and start researching
Yeah, that pyramid stuff, it gets
Yeah.
me.
space and time, space travel, time travel.
You want to go down a deep rabbit hole? I'm so sorry.
I
Not
know.
at all.
No, it's okay.
You should look up the no plane theory.
What is that?
On YouTube? It's about 9/11, so kind of a sensitive
Oh.
topic,
Okay.
which maybe we don't want to talk about too much. But the no plane theory, that there was never any planes in the sky, that they just came down. It's wild.
My God, I
Yeah.
just got goosebumps.
I
the minute
know,
you said
weird,
that.
right? Well, because it happened in 2001, which is before people had like accurate recording devices. So people say that like maybe the stuff that they showed on Fox News is really just planted stuff that they were able to visually affect. I don't
Oh,
know.
like CGI?
Like CGI it. Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that?
It's crazy stuff. I don't know if that's the
I'm
kind
telling
of
you, there's
conspiracy
Big
that
Brother's
you...
out there. This is a simulation, guys. This is not reality.
Well, what are you working on now?
Oh,
Just like agency stuff, or do you have some private projects you're working on?
I have some private projects that I'm working on.
Okay.
I'm gonna be DP for this web series pilot.
Oh, neat.
That's being
Oh, like wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
We
So
just
that's
had
gonna be
Mary
fun.
on last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Awesome.
That is going to be fun.
Yeah. And then so I just met with them like the other day. So we're just starting like pre-production for like equipment, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on right now.
Do you guys have a timeline to production? Like filming in summer?
We are
not
filming
really.
April to May.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang, not soon.
Oh my God, yeah, I just realized that's next month.
You guys are full force ahead in
I
pre-pro
know.
then.
We're already
Damn.
looking to March.
Yeah. Yeah. So they did casting and they have people. They have a mood board. They have everything taken care of.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So I'm just overseeing equipment and like the people who are gonna help me and like the visual kind of representation of the film. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on right now. And then the weekends, everyone knows this. I shoot weddings.
Well,
Can't kick that wedding habit, huh?
No, I can't. I can't.
pays the bills.
It does, but it also helps me kind of stay on my toes and like it helps keep that storytelling aspect of myself going, that gear going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get complacent with your new
No,
fancy
because
job.
it's like with weddings it's almost like documentary. I like to think about it as documentary because you're actually documenting someone's life.
Yeah.
So it's very similar in that aspect. Yeah.
Cool.
And then what else am I working on?
You're so busy.
I know.
Awesome.
Drive.
It's so great. Yeah. Yeah. It's really inspiring. Really.
So one of these days, I feel like I'm just gonna die from over burnout,
No,
if that's possible.
No. But maybe you'll get to a point where you'll feel comfortable saying no to projects.
I'm getting in that stage now.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying no to certain weddings. I'm saying no to certain projects,
Which I think would be good
mostly
for you.
because of time conflicts.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like there are some that now I'm kind of just like, oh, is it worth my time? Like, does it really nurture
Yeah.
what I want to be doing in the long run? Then I say no. Yeah, because right now I'm trying to do that whole work-life balance
Yeah.
where it's like don't overwork too much. It's gonna take over you because my health is deteriorating. Yeah.
And you're balancing
Yeah.
a love life too. Yes? No?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
a personal life in general. I mean, you
Yeah.
have your family. You
Yeah.
you need to have a social life of some sort.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that life, I'm like, gotta manage that too.
Oh my gosh.
Because I have to make sure I take care of that. Like, I can't just put my whole entire like energy into just
Oh,
working, or
it's so
else
hard.
I'm gonna lose my foundation and my support, and I'm just gonna, I don't know.
Preach, girl.
My soul
It's
is
like you know what you're supposed to do, but like just doing it is the hard part, right?
doing it is the hard part. Like
Yeah.
I'm very like self-aware and like in all those aspects, but like fear sometimes creeps up and tells me it's gonna be scary. You're not gonna make it. It's gonna be hard. Yeah,
It's going to be hard but challenging.
Challenging.
And fulfilling.
and fulfilling.
Getting over
Yeah.
those obstacles. and
Yeah.
Reaching your goals.
Yeah.
And then making new goals.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
failure is like my biggest fear,
Yeah.
but I know I just have to let it happen when it happens.
Hey, part of the process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Let's see.
I can see you being a singer one day after you like win an Oscar for DPing.
Oh my God.
And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I'm going to be Lady Gaga.
I'll be 40 years old.
Great.
And I'll have my first show. I'll have my first show at like a really tiny bar and no one's listening to me.
And you would get so much fulfillment out of that, guaranteed.
I know, and I'll be like, wow, no one listened to me, but that was great.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I do have like little tiny goals in my head that I like. Like, I've always had this goal where I wanted to start my own, like, I wanted to have almost like Hollywood, but like for indie filmmakers, but like this huge, like, piece of land. And it's like studio spaces and workspaces and cafes and like equipment and like, I don't know. It's just my
All
dream.
that community
Yeah.
and collaboration.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's like home base for indie filmmakers, so you can find everything in like
Yeah.
one place. I don't know.
Very cool.
So everyone is like more tight knit and everyone, you know.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
that's in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a creative commune or something.
Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah, just little tiny goals of when I'm old and retired and ooh, what do I want to do with my time?
That would be so cool. Buy an island. and
I know,
just
buy
all
an
your
island.
friends.
This is gonna be called the Indie Film Club.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Small goals.
Dreams. Yeah, small. Just gonna buy an island. Just one of my small
Big
ones.
goals. Big unrealistic goals. Yeah.
Girl, you can do anything.
Cool. Well, let's. I guess we can go ahead and start wrapping here. About an hour and a half.
Cool.
Yeah.
Really? We were talking for that long?
I know,
I can
right?
keep going.
Yeah.
No, that
You want
felt
to
so
talk more
good.
about conspiracy theories? I feel like after we turn everything off, we're still going to keep talking about like conspiracy theories and stuff.
So yeah, where can people find you on the web?
Oh, so you can find me on Instagram at Storylight Studios. That's Storylight with STORYLITE Studios. Or storylightstudios.com. Yeah.
I remember
can
you telling
find
me
me
once
there.
where that name came from, so it's because you like to tell stories.
Oh my God, it came to
With
me in the
light.
shower. So like at first when I first started the business, I was like, I just need a name. I just need a name that tells people that I'm different or something. So I was like, oh, novelty. Novelty is the meaning is it's defined as different, unique. So I was like, okay, we can go with that. And then an old lady approached me one day and she was like, why did you name yourself Novelty Studios? And I was like, because I wanted something that kind of defined me as someone that stood out. And then she was like, you know, when I think of novelty, I think of something else. If you know what I mean.
I don't get it. This must be rated
Adult
X.
toys.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. That's what she said to me. And for a long time, I was like, you scarred me to death.
Gosh, this sage
I-
of a woman.
There's a lot
I
of
know.
money in that industry.
I was like, all right, I am changing the name. Like that kind of like lit a fire under my butt. And then it was just like, change the name. change your name. And so I was like in the shower, and I was like, I remember like putting shampoo on my hair, and the shampoo got in my eyes, and I was singing. And then all of a sudden, Story came into my head, and then I was like playing with Story in my, kind of just like playing with the word or whatever, just like putting things together, like, ooh, story time, story something, story. I kept saying story. And then, I don't know, I think I looked at something, and then light came to mind, and then I was like, wait, story. Light?
You saw the light.
I saw the light. I was like, and then they freaking just got out of the shower. I still had soap on me. And I like typed it in my phone just to make sure no one else had it.
Yeah.
And then people already had the ones that it was like LIGHT. So then I was like, okay, I'll just make it fancy and I'll just spell it LITE. Storylight. But yeah, combining my two favorite things.
Spelling.
Yeah. Don't say that. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, but like it's like combining my two favorite things, which is storytelling and then light.
Yeah, playing with light.
Playing with light. I love playing with light. Natural light and artificial lighting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is very, very cool.
So I was like, oh, this is a lot more fitting. Yeah. The Novelty Studios. Ooh, I still have my reservations with that woman.
No, she had your best interest in mind.
I know. I was honestly, it was a blessing in disguise because I was like, thank you for telling me that, because now I have a name that I actually am proud to stand by.
And the creepy emails stopped coming in.
Yeah. Yes. No more creepy emails.
All right. Well, it has been a joy having you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
This
much
is
for coming
fun. Yeah. We could definitely talk more about conspiracy theories off air.
I love this ASMR thing you like. You're so-
Hello.
I'm scared. No, thank you so much, Shaneika.
Thank you so much
You're
for having
really,
me.
Really so awesome. So awesome. And you're going to go so far. I'm so excited for you.
I hope so.
Dropping all these knowledge bombs. This was a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I didn't say anything dumb. Please don't hate me. If I said anything that offended you.
That SpongeBob thing.
I know. I was like, oh, all my friends, I bet there's 50 text messages in my phone right now. I can't believe you hate SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is so trendy right now, too. So the fact that you brought it up was like, ooh, she's going to pay for that.
Like, it's funny because, like, whenever anyone has, like, you know, like, when we're just going day-to-day life and then someone just, like, pulls out, like, a SpongeBob reference.
Yeah.
I'm, like, the only person in the whole group that's like, what? Or, like, I, like, pretend to know, so I'm, like, laughing with them. I'm like, yeah, I remember that scene.
And you're just like, idiot.
Don't remember that scene. Yeah. But, yeah.
It's okay.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy as hell schedule to be here
Oh,
with
no,
us.
thank you for
This was
having
so fun.
me. I
We'll
had
have
a
to
lot
do
of
another check-in in a year and see where you are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
yes.
From Vegas. Not Vegas.
From LA.
The private island.
Or a private island.
Yes.
With my own private jet and a boat. I'll come in my ship.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much. Thank you for watching, those who watched. And
Thanks for tuning in.
yeah. And I guess that's it.
Bye. Bye.